We are living in a computer-programmed reality, and the only clue we have to it is when some variable is changed and some alteration in our reality occurs. We would have the overwhelming impression that we were reliving the present, déjà vu, perhaps in precisely the same way, hearing the same words, saying the same words. I submit that these impressions are valid and significant, and I will even say this: such an impression is a clue that at some past time point a variable was changed, reprogrammed as it were, and that because of this an alternative world branched off.
It's not just a coincidence that I look like Jesus. I am the modern day Jesus Christ that you all have been waiting for. So I ask you, Oprah, better yet, I'm begging you, Oprah, please cast me onto your show.
Okay, so that very scant video / audio you've just heard originates from the mouth of somebody by the name of Oscar Ramiro Ortega Hernandez. This is the perfect candidate, the perfect Manchurian candidate to be cast on Oprah's show. This is the only digital footprint we have of Oscar Ramiro Ortega Hernandez, who is being charged with attempting to assassinate Barack Hussein Obama, President of the United States. Good morning. My name is Robert Phoenix. You're listening to the Friday Farcast, and sometimes the universe unfolds in very synchronistic and magically divine ways. So I couldn't have planned today's show in any better fashion, in a more timely fashion, because in a few minutes I'm going to bring on Dr. Phil Valentine, who is a Kemetic scholar and a researcher, and he came to my attention via a post. There's actually a YouTube video on the anomalies, the incredible anomalies, the distinct anomalies that connect Barack Obama and Malcolm X in terms of the birth issue. And he's got a great presentation which you can find on YouTube, and we'll talk about that when he comes on the show. But again, ironically and synchronistically, we have this event where this person is now being charged for attempting to assassinate Barack Hussein Obama, even though Obama wasn't there, and it was a random shot through the White House window. And I did a brief search on Mr. Ortega Hernandez, and there's absolutely zero digital footprint outside of this Oprah video, which I just played you. And by the way, he's reading off of a book. Outside of the Oprah video I've just played you, he doesn't exist. But clearly he exists in the mind of people now as being A, nut job, B, a Christian, C, claiming that Barack Obama is the Antichrist. And interestingly enough, he was arrested in Pennsylvania, which is where the scandal, the Penn State scandal, is going on. And interestingly enough, where Barack Obama was last week. So there's a lot of things that are converging here, and we're going to try to make sense of some of it today, if we can. Now, if you have followed the Ulsterman insider pieces, one of the things, the Ulsterman stuff is really fascinating. Claims to be somebody on the inside of the Ulsterman is the guy who runs this blog, and he's got an insider, White House insider, who has been unerringly correct with a lot of the stuff that he's been putting out. He talked about a confrontation between Bill Daley and Valerie Jarrett in the White House, got very heated, and Reggie Love, Obama's body man, got in between Valerie Jarrett and Bill Daley, and he got slightly physical with Bill Daley. Well, 2 days later, Reggie Love is gone. Maybe 5 days later, he was gone, but he was gone right after that event. He was scolded. He was scolded by, I believe, Michelle Obama. And then Ulsterman talked about that there would be, or his insider talked about that there would be an assassination attempt on Obama to boost ratings and to further this gun control agenda, which was seen in the Fast and Furious debacle that happened down in Mexico. And sure enough, a few days later, it happens. So with each passing week, this White House insider on the Ulsterman Chronicles gains more and more credibility. So the first time I saw this picture of Ortega Hernandez, I was incredibly dubious over his legitimacy, and I thought it would be great to be able to talk about this at some point with our guest today, Dr. Phil Valentine. And without any further delay, let's bring him on the air and let's greet him and give him a warm welcome and get him on the show here. Hello, Dr. Phil.
Yeah, this is Dr. Valentine. How are you?
Dr. Valentine, how's it going? This is Robert. Thanks for coming on the show today. Really appreciate it. You're
quite welcome. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, I just want to tell people, get their popcorn ready because this is going to be a pretty interesting 60 minutes. So I gave some background as to how I came across you. It was the video presentation that you gave about the connection between Malcolm X and Obama with all of the physical characteristics and traits. You called it your version of CSI in the video, and it's highly entertaining and incredibly compelling. And some of the most compelling pieces are the crowd's reaction when you brought the images side by side and the cleft Venus and all that stuff. You could just hear people's minds that the jail doors are swinging wide open. They're letting this, and it was pretty enlightening. Let's start with you. Let's get a little background on you personally, and talk about kind of who you are, what you do, and how you ultimately evolved to some of your insights that you've been posting regularly on your website. So who is Dr. Valentine, and where do you derive your philosophy and your ability to see the world from?
Wow, you got about 3 hours. That sounds like a life story. Misspent youth and all kinds of madness that brought me and taught me and initiated me and took me into different realms that I was fortunate to have survived. And then because of my Catholic school upbringing and sword knuckles and smacks to the back of the head and my father being military and the whole 9 yards, I had a very strict upbringing. Being West Indian, you had to be on your P's and Q's. My family were very strict. And with those kind of, environmental parameters to work within, you're limited to do exactly what you are told to do, and very little wiggle room. But what I was fortunate to know, and I'm looking back on that, is that what they were doing was helping me to become more focused and to become more cerebral, because you were restricted physically from being a certain way, from doing certain things. but you had to use your mental. They forced you to use your mental. So my mother, after school, and we'd eat and look at a little bit of television, and then after that, we shut it off, and I would be forced or told that I had to read, and to give her at least 5 or 10 words, I had to read 2 pages from the dictionary every night. And as I read them, I had to take 5 of them and to give the definitions, use them in a sentence, diagram them, and to use them in a conversation and so forth. So that's the upbringing that I had. It was very, very strict in academics, and it made me have to research. My father was an avid researcher as well, and that now dovetailed into going out and having my adventures on the street, disappointing my father and not going into med school, going into a rock band and doing a soul and rhythm and blues band. I've done pretty much everything. I have the gauntlet that I could tell you about.
Uh-huh.
So all of that kind of forged me into that. So then after that, after going through a bout of very bad health while coming up and being stricken one day to the point where I thought I was going to make my move to the ancestors, I made a promise that if I was to find a way to heal myself, that I would do that work and help other people. And sure enough, I was directed to a place called the Tree of Life.
Hey, Dr. Valentine, I'm having an issue here with the audio. I'm getting some feedback here that there's a big wall of silence. Let me refresh my connection here, okay?
Okay.
I'm getting some feedback in the chat room. Let me just do this.
Okay.
All right, let's try this now. The refresh works. Hello, can you hear us, people? Let me see if you can hear now. Okay, so thank you for the chat room for letting me know that we had an issue there. All right, I apologize for that. Let's keep moving on. So you began to forge your life in a positive way. Is this where Kemetic science comes into play for you?
Yeah, this is where I began to learn more of our ancestral knowledge at the Tree of Life. It was the place where everyone at the corner of Lenox Avenue and 121st Street in Harlem, all those who were on certain levels, intellectual levels, and even just curious people who were into the curiosities of the ancient sciences would come to meet. And it was from there that I began to find the ways of dealing with naturopathic healing. I even got the chance and the honor to meet Maurice White from Earth, Wind, and Fire, who used to stop off there as well.
Uh-huh.
And this is a place where a lot of people began to forge their knowledge of ancient Kemet and higher metaphysics.
Right.
And so this brother, his name was Brother Kanya. He was the proprietor at the Tree of Life, and he turned me on to some books, some heavy books that I began to get into, and that he said was my knowledge that was actually kind of converted into European New Age.
Right.
Our ancient knowledge. And from that point, I began to study, got deeper into it. I took a course at the Life Science Institute of Texas, and through that course, I attained my doctorate in naturopathic health through the hygienic sciences, which I found to be the most profound and the most sublime, advanced healing techniques, because it uses no poisons, no herbs, no drugs, other things but food, sunlight, water, and other things. Now, of course, we're not taking away the science of the triage or emergency, which Western medicine has become very proficient at. So Western medicine is excellent at stopping bullets, guns, burns, because this is where they come from. They're very violent, their society, so they had to develop very, very unique and very good ways to be able to mend bodies that come from a society like that. But when it comes to healing, natural healing, they're completely clueless. But of course, a lot of my knowledge and my curiosity dovetailed from that branch, from that tree, and got into politics, got into economics, got into history, especially from the mystery system. From the mystery, we call it, what I call Western history is twistery. What I call our history is meta-history or meta-historical events.